Hey, welcome to another episode of Real Estate Fanatics. Today we're going to talk about client appreciation ideas. This one's always cool. It's always super exciting. It's also a little controversial. You got to know your laws and department regulations around it. You always got to talk to your managing broker about what you can and can't do. It always looks different. Always err on the side of caution. So we're going to talk about some ideas. We're going to talk about the do's and don'ts on this episode, and therefore I'm excited to talk to you today a little bit about how to bring some joy to some people's lives that are doing transactions with you, specifically clients. However, before we begin, I have my calendar link down below. If you have any ideas, if you want some more ideas, if you want to know some just tips and tricks, happy to do that. We have a lot of systems, a lot of different things we're happy to give you. Just put something in the comments down below. Schedule time with me. Also, subscribe to our channel and click the notification bell and put some comments in there and like our videos. All right, client ideas. Tips and tricks and client ideas for basically specifically around appreciation. So one thing you have to be very careful of, and I'll put the disclaimer out here, is as a real estate agent, you cannot pay for business, right? You have to be very careful in that. You cannot entice somebody by like, hey, here's a $1,000 airline gift card for using me as a real estate agent to buy a home. That is something that is going to be looked upon negatively by department regulations, and you're probably going to get busted on that. So for me, it's a lot about talking to your managing broker. Like every team's got different levels of tolerance on. Some are just like zero, none. You give no client appreciation, anything. Others have some tolerance levels, and again, it's how they interpret things with the department regulations. So I'm going to say, please check with your managing brokers before you implement any kind of client appreciation ideas and things of that nature. I'm a big believer, honestly, on the safest approach is to host big client appreciation ideas as opposed to closing gifts, as an example. Because a closing gift to me is directly related to the successful purchase or transaction of a house. Now, where I think you can probably be okay with that is it's at the completion of it. However, I think if department regulations looked at it and said, hey, you committed to getting them X gift prior to them doing business with you, that could be look like you're buying that business. So, for example, I gave them a $1,000 airline credit or a gift card at the closing, but yet I told them that from the beginning I would get that for them. I think perhaps that could be probably more than likely construed as department regulations is going to come down and crack on you for buying that business. So what I do and what I really look at is I like client appreciation events. I'm not buying anybody's business, and there's no perception of that. I'm going to go out and go, hey, I'm bringing in a band, and we're going to go out to a park, and I'm going to invite 250, 1,000 people. I'm going to get the permits. I'm going to do whatever my city needs me to do. I'm going to pay for the band. Perhaps we're going to have some catered food trucks out there. Maybe cornhole, throw some cornhole, just make it a fun experience, right? And I'm going to do that once a year. Now I can bring anybody and everybody out. I've got my banners up. We got marketing material up. People are coming out. Maybe there's a movie night where we get a big screen in the park and we go through that. Maybe we rent a movie theater. There's a lot of cool ideas that you can do out there, and what you're doing is coming from value, right? You're not saying, oh, I know you want to buy a house, so therefore I'm going to give you a gift, right? It's like, hey, we're just having fun. Let's go out there. If you want to use me in the future, hopefully you remember my name because we're doing a lot of cool, fun stuff in the community. I'm just coming from contribution. So let's kind of maybe, that to me is kind of the difference between closing gifts and client appreciation ideas. So with client appreciation, I like to do other things like put a group together to do volunteer work, right? Like Habitat for Humanity. You get two good things out of that, right? You bring in a community together that's like, oh, that's really cool. And Mike and his Integrity Home Group are out taking care of horses on a horse property that maybe it's a rehabilitation of horses or whatnot. So we'll go do those things. We'll put some publicity out there on it, of course, because we want to show that we're doing some things, but also that we're taking care of the community. A lot of times we get other volunteers within the community to join us on those things, and now that kind of bonds them a little bit with us. Like, hey, man, these are really good people. I enjoyed spending time with them, shoveling the hay out of the horse stall, so on and so forth, right? Just a good bonding moment. So there's things you can tie together between volunteering and also kind of a client appreciation thing. Lots of cool ideas around, like we said, the movies, the parks. I've seen things where people go to Rockies games in Colorado specifically, and they'll rent out a bunch of sections. I've seen more fundraiser stuff like school supply drops, like homeless shelter support and work. Again, it's more volunteer based. A lot of different things that you can be creative around. It seems like today I'm seeing more of let's rent out a movie theater, like Top Gun came out and somebody rented a movie theater and brought all the clients there. Other things I've seen is, like we talked about, was the bands. Somebody recently did that for a military veteran fundraiser. Her name's Pam. If you're watching this, hey Pam. It was really cool. Brought a band out, did a silent auction. It was give back money to Leos that have died in line of duty or military, things like that. That's a common bond that people really enjoy coming to and doing and supporting. They remember who you are. Really cool stuff. You can also get small businesses to support you in these things too, so it doesn't have to totally come out of your pocket. So if you've got a good title company that's willing to do that, lenders, roofers, inspectors, anybody really that's willing to sponsor you. Think of the community town fairs for those that have those. Like a lot of times in the downtown, right, they'll block off a couple blocks, they'll do a parade or whatever, fireworks show, and then they always have their vendor booths out there. Kind of thinking that concept as far as your business goes, as far as trying to set up events for people, and that you're actually the one vendor that's out there, but you can use others to be part of your vendor list, if you will, for these events that you do. And then they get some recognition out of it. You get some support from being able to offset some of your costs and things of that nature. So that's really it for client appreciation ideas. There's a lot of creative ways on it. I would look into it. I would tend to steer more away from closing gifts and more towards client appreciation. That way it stays within the bounds and there's not any ambiguity in buying people's business. And I hope that was helpful for you today. And if it wasn't, my apologies. If it was, awesome. Hit the like button down below. Feel free to hit the Calendly link and schedule some time with us. And happy to talk about that and put some comments. And we'll be ready to go. Thanks.